Hey everyone, today I am here to announce that I have released a mod for Battle for the Grid, and I think you're going to want to catch in on this because we have frame data, we have hitboxes, we have free cam, and we have some other small things such as being able to fix which stage you go to in ranked and in lobbies and stuff, as well as the ability to slow down and speed up the game within training mode, and I'm going to show you why that's useful. So let's get started with it. The very first thing, pressing F1 will bring up a new menu which is unavailable before. And when we click on Global, we get this new menu. We also have a training mode one and a BGM Player. So we're going to start off with the global one, keep it simple. And we're going to do Enable Stage Select Override. And this will give us the option to select a stage. So if we select database, go into a match, and we're going to pick training stage. And what should happen is we should be put into database, as you can see. And this just allows streamers who are hosting tournaments to be able to play other stages outside of training room, while the actual competitors themselves can be inside training room, because this works as a spectator. To keep it a little bit more interesting, I also added the random feature, which you can click select and get a new menu. You can uncheck the ones that you don't want. So if you're not a fan of Mystic Forest or Training Room, perhaps you don't like Corinth, that's another problematic one for some people. You can uncheck those and it will just go through random select for these select stages. So you still get your random, but you get it in a controlled way. If you're sick of the training room, much like I am, this is the way to do it. So you still get your variants, but you don't have to go to the stages you don't want to. Right, and second, we have the enable pick same character multiple times. Bit of a mouthful. And if you have any better names for it, please let me know, because I cannot think of a better way of putting it. So yeah, let me know in the comments if there's anything. We're going to select this. When we select this, we can pick the same character multiple times, as you can see here, and it will let you play the game like this. Note, this only works in directs, training mode, and versus mode. I'm not sure if it works in story mode. I assume it does. The only thing it doesn't work in are lobbies and ranked, thankfully, because that would be very much against the NWAY's terms of service for online play. As you can see, we have 3 Tommies. Yeah, I know. And we've got 3 Jasons. Pretty good. So you can play with friends in directs or offline and try out new teams, try 3 characters. I hear some of the best ones are Triple Z is pretty good. I imagine Triple Gen is probably pretty good as well, but let us give it a try, find out your best team, share us clips, because I would love to see what people are doing with this mod. So next, we have Enable Camera Control, and there's a little question mark here, and it's going to tell you all of the buttons in order to control the camera. I haven't figured out a way to rebind the keyboard, like to give you access to doing it, but it's something that I'm working on. Let me just pick into a stage. I think we'll pick a stage I haven't actually looked at yet. So let's do Earth Tower. I haven't looked at this stage yet. Because funny enough, I've been developing this mod for like 4 or 5 weeks, roughly about the time since the last video I made, but I haven't actually played around with the mods that I've made. So here, we are going to press F9 to enable. And we are now in free camera mode. As you can see, if we go back, there's Gia and Jason. Now, if I have my controller, I can do attack still. I wonder how I can do super. There we go. She's facing to the side. So one of the cool things you'll find is with the supers, they do a lot of tricks to create the animations for it. It's very impressive, actually. I'm a big fan of what they've done. And yeah, you could just fly around and have a look and see what's happening. I haven't actually looked around this stage yet. And you can go down and up. I'm still trying to figure out how to do turning better, but yeah, it should be good enough for you all to have a look at. I'm not going to go all the way over there. I'm going to leave that to you lot. And we're going to press F10 and go back. As you can see, we're back. And if you press F9, you start back where you started. So you can see here, there's Jason and Gia again. That's the camera control. Pretty cool. This is probably the one I've used the most because I wanted to see how supers worked, and there's some pretty cool things there. Now, on to the next one. We have training mode. Now, this is the cool stuff. Show frame data for attacks. This lets you see frame data for attacks as it's described. How do I reset? There we go. Sorry, I usually use a hitbox, but I've got my controller here because the hitbox is a little bit too loud for this. You can see here on the right-hand side of the screen, we have startup and advantage. Now, advantage is work in progress. Basically, I've tied it to the animation system, which means that when the animations finish for the character you're controlling, that's when it calculates the end of a move has happened. And for the enemy, it happens when they come out of hit or block stun. It's not perfect because Gia's 5L is actually +3 or 4, I think it is, but it comes out as -2. However, the startup numbers are 100% accurate. They are 100% accurate. Don't worry about those. And I'm going to carry on working on the advantage state. I have enough away that I might be able to figure it out. But the interesting thing is that it does actually work with plinking, and I don't think that's something that we've had before. So it's good to see this sort of thing being calculated in the game. To test it for the moment, if you want to use it, when you do a move, hold on to a direction after you finish the move, because it will cancel the animation as early as possible, and you'll get a more accurate measurement. But just know that for now, the advantage isn't 100% accurate, but the startup is 100% accurate. It even takes into account distance for moves. So that's startup 12, startup 14, startup 16. So at least you know what the startup is, and you get a rough idea of what the advantage is. And now we are going to move on to probably what made me push this mod out sooner rather than later, because I only discovered this 2 days ago. I think it might have been 2 days ago. We've got Enable Collision Box Viewer, and that is exactly what you think it is. We got boxes. We've got all the boxes. So where's a heavy? So there's a heavy. It's a little bit fast, right? I hate to break this to you, but I'm going to go into the training room because it's actually the easiest place where you can see the boxes. So let me just make sure I don't have stage select override on. Cool. And we should have box data already. Cool. My initial version of this, it was very juddery and a bit glitchy, but I found a way to make it perfectly smooth. Goes in, perfect sync with the frame rate of the game. And as I say, it's a little bit fast to be able to see what's going on, which brings me on to this unlabeled, because I forgot to label it, portion of the training mode menu. And we're just going to bring this down to, let's say, 30%. As you can see, the game slowed down to 30%. So now when I do a move, you get to see those hitboxes a little bit better. 5L is ridiculously long, as we all knew, but I didn't, even then I still think it's pretty far. 5H is as disjointed as you imagine, practically an anti-air in itself. And you can also see projectiles. Projectiles come out kind of like a pinky purple. So that's it. And with the slowdown, you can do one or two things to reset it. You can just pick a new number and set it, and it will change to that speed. Or if you press reset, there we go, it will go back to normal speed until you hit set again. So you can do some pretty cool things, like if you really want to see how a move's frame data comes out. There we go, super slow. You can see just how that button comes out. And if you're wanting to see how projectiles work, oh, that's my dash button apparently. There we go, projectile, and oh, I'm pressing the wrong button for the low. Thankfully it's in 10% speed, so we didn't miss that. And projectile. So yeah, I mean, have a play around with it. So just so you know, the green one, the green box is HITBOX. The white box is your physics box. The red box, I'm sure you're all aware from just watching this, is a regular hitbox. And pinky purple, I've done these in the wrong order. So that's your red, that's your hitbox, and your pinky purple is your projectiles. And I think they're the only ones that I've seen. There may be more colors that I haven't seen yet. I've basically like enabled it, mapped it, and it just works. So I haven't really looked much further than that. And that is really the meat of this update. Like, it teaches you so much about this game. Let me give you an example of something that we discovered almost immediately, which we kind of knew about but didn't have. Oh yeah, so this is a good point. If you go into the main menu, you can see I'm pressing up and down. If you have the menu open, you actually can't control the menu. I don't know why. It's just it's something to do with mouse control, because you can control the menu with the mouse, but you can't actually click on anything. So if you just make sure you turn off the menu, if you can't control your controller. So we're going to set the enemy to push block always, guard always. And so now you see this big red box. I think it's projectile box actually. But that is what push block is. Push block is actually an attack. And you can see these little red circles in the middle of the screen. That is basically where a move hits someone. And there will be a total of 6 of them. So each of the 6 characters will have a red marker to say where they hit someone and where. But yeah, basically push block is a hitbox, a projectile hitbox for that matter. So if you set this, oh actually I want to set this down to, let's say 20. That should be slow enough. And we shoot him, you'll see that big push block. So it was roughly here, right? If we do 4S, but she might still be inside it. Yeah, she is. Okay, let me try again. There we go. We might be outside it this time. There we go. You see, push block does nothing because we're just outside of that massive projectile hitbox. So that is pretty much everything. The BGM Player is a little thing I did on the side while I was trying to test out how the menu and the UI works, as well as just having a nose around and seeing how the game works. But basically, you can select a track and it will play when you hit play. If you press next track, it will just move on to the next track. And while this is happening, if the song finishes, rather than repeating the song, it will move on to the next track. It currently gets overridden by any time the game asks for music to be played. So I haven't figured out a way to do it. I'm not sure what direction I'm going to go in it. I might just have an enable and disable to override anything that the game asks for, but who knows? I will figure that out at some point. It works. It's kind of cool if you're sitting around, you just want to quickly throw in a track. One of my favorites, I think, is Command Center story. This should be Command Center story, but it's called Command Center. Mystic Forest is another great track. So that is absolutely everything, I think, with this patch. Yes, that is absolutely everything with this patch that I've made. If you want to know how to install this, I'm going to create a second video, which is going to go over the install instructions. And it's going to have a link in both this video and the other video on how to get the mod. It's in a GitHub repository, and it will soon be on Nexus Mods, because it's just a little bit of an easier place for people to handle, downloading a mod, because GitHub's not the most user-friendly if you're not a developer like me. Anyway, have a good evening. Download this patch, this mod. It's not a patch, it's a mod. Let me know how you go with it. Tag me on Twitter with videos that you have in the, that you make from this, or I'm counting on you all to try this mod out, because I've spent nothing but the last 5 weeks building this and trying to figure out the code and how to mod it, and I've barely had any time to play, which also goes with the fact that I'm woefully unprepared for Frosties, but I don't care anymore because I've done this, and this is so much bigger than like performing well in Frosties. So yeah, anyway, I'm rambling on. Have a good evening.